Hello and welcome to Waadaplaya Concussion Sub Retired Out series for the second T20I post match review between India and South Africa that was played at Cuttack. Good to see great crowds coming back. Unfortunately, India lost the second T20I and are down 2-0 in this series. I have Suman with me to discuss everything after the IPL and a little break. We are back to having bilateral series. First of all, Suman, how are you? And did you enjoy this game?
Welcome back, everybody, and it's good to be back in Team India shirt after a IPL tournament for 2 months. Yeah, feels good to be back, but yeah, we have a lot of problems to deal with for Team India, but we will talk. But how are you doing, Sanjay, over there, sunny London?
My God, if you are in the UK, in London or wherever, I think between July and September is the best time because the days are longer. It just your body just feels much more better. Yeah, it's very good, and the England team is also doing very well against New Zealand. Arguably, that was probably a better contest to look at today than what happened to India. But coming back to the game, obviously they lost. India lost the first T20I in Delhi, scored 200, couldn't defend it. This time around, put into bat first, they could only get 140 odd. So when you think the pitch was to blame, and I know your thoughts, you never like to blame pitch or the toss or whatnot. I personally would um, uh, put this down to maybe intent. They should have got a few more, I thought.
Yeah, power play was quite slow. Kishan was the only person I saw that was trying to go after. After that, I don't know why Hardik Pandya couldn't get going. And then Dinesh Karthik, whatever he could do. And he got us to 140, which is at least something to bowl at. But yeah, probably 20-25 shot is what I felt. And Rishabh Pant too, playing quite aggressive shot. He promoted himself to number four. So he probably should have dragged the team along to 12th or 13th over and then let Dinesh Karthik do his thing, probably. But yeah, I mean, look, there are a lot of questions coming up, and I know Vishak also mentioned that is the series is inconsequential, and we should not read too much into it. But then you and Adi were talking about it. At the end of the day, if you don't win games, no combination is going to be any good. So yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts about. Is it probably the pitch? If I leave my bias outside.
Not necessarily. And talking of Adi is also here. Let me get an easy in audio or whatnot. But I just like you, not necessarily. I'm going to blame the pitch because India only got 148, but they had effectively two set sort of batsmen in the end. Harshal Patel was going well. Dinesh Karthik didn't get out, so it means that you had resources. And Dinesh Karthik was 7 of 18 balls or something like that. Maybe you could have gone slightly earlier. 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. These 4 overs have only given us 19 runs. 19 runs in 4 overs. You're going to lose every game, be it 200, 150, 120, whatever. So I was quite disappointed with that. But in the bowling performance, to be honest, I think I'm not sure whether he's had a better spell. He had 4 for 13, got 3 wickets in the power play. Obviously, if you're picking 3 wickets, you are in a very commanding position, but 148 odd only to defend. And then Heinrich Klaasen coming in place of Quinton de Kock. Well. Pitch is completely out of the equation. He gets 81 or 46. So, yeah, I think it's slightly unfair to blame the pitch because you have a batter who's gone almost at 200 runs 200 run strike rate.
What we are overseeing, and Adi, I hope you're on audio, is South Africa bowling attack. Forget about India batting. Hagiso Rabada, 4 overs, 15 runs, 1 wicket, 3 runs per over. Wayne Parnell, 4 overs, 23. Enric Norkia, 4 overs, 36. So I think their bowling department also has done the job. I know we are biased in talking about India didn't bat well, but South Africans worked up. If you look at Shreyas Iyer, short bowling, Ishan Kishan, short bowling. Adi, are you there to get
Yep,
in?
I'm there. So I'll say actually our bowling also did okay. The main bowlers did okay, main pace bowlers. If you look at Bhuvi, as Sanjay mentioned, probably his best ever T20 international figures, right? Like 4 for 13. Then both Avesh and Harshal also 3 over 17 runs, respectable, right? in the context of the match. So 10 overs, 47 runs. Uh, I think tactically Pant messed up. He should. The only way you're going to win this match is to take wickets. You're not going to contain them and take it to the last over. So he should have bowled out all the three main pacers who were bowling well, who were hitting those hard lengths by the 12th or 13th over. South Africa has a long tail, right? You saw how Wayne Parnell is coming in at like 7 and he's struggling to get bat on ball. And Henrik Klaasen only played three deliveries of Bhuvi. After that, he was hitting your Chahals, your Akshars, and your Hardiks. Those are your bottom three bowlers. So tactically, also India I think messed up. Hardik also was trying to get too cute by bowling all the slowers and full length balls. Was hit the hard lengths. The pitch is too paced. Bounce. If the ball is bouncing, it's tougher to bat. So that's where we lost the plot. I think this was 10 runs below par or par. But if we had bowled the three main bowlers earlier, that's fun. And then it could have been a different game. If you had gotten Klaasen out, South Africa's required run rate was under, I think after 8 overs, they were 36 for 3 or something.
And
So,
just to add to Adi's point around the bowling attack, and Suman, you also mentioned about the fast bowlers going for very few runs. Is the spinners? Look at the spinners. Shamsi and Maharaj bowled 4 overs for 33. Look at our spinners, 5 over 68 runs in 148 game. 5 over 68 runs. You can have as good a bowling attack as you want. You're pretty much done. So the only option was you had Avesh Khan 1 over left and Bhuvi pretty much bowled when with the fourth over when the game was done. So you could have utilized that and maybe see where you go from. But at one point they needed 10 and over. So maybe Pant thought that this would be a normal game, treat it as a normal game, and be able to close it out. You see, completing his quota didn't necessarily help Team India. So yeah, I think there's lots of things to ponder over on this win, on this loss, but you have to give credit to South Africa as well. I think bowling, batting, they've done really well.
Yeah, credit definitely to South Africa. And Ajay has an interesting point, and I want to get both of your takes, Sanjay and Adi. Top players are opting out of international game, but playing IPL. How do you summarize this approach? So I get it that there's too much cricket, but let's get your thoughts, Sanjay.
So I in a T20 World Cup year, considering how dismal our performance was, and it was the worst performance we've had in a World Cup since 2007. Considering that, there is no way anyone you think will be in your team for sure to be given a rest. I don't care what happens in one-off test match or whatnot. Even with all the IPL playing, I haven't got an issue, but I needed everyone who's going to be a sure shot. Someone like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, Bumrah, which most people think will be there, irrespective of whatever happens in these bilateral series with our other players who are being tested out. So I definitely wanted them to be here. You could have sacrificed few ODIs, given them rest when not necessarily there's a World Cup on the line, and they could rest after the World Cup. So I'm really disappointed that they've been rested, but you're trying new players, and we'll have the same situation exactly what we had last year. We'll have too many players, some just in form before the World Cup, who might get picked in. Look at what happened with Venki Iyer. Look at what happened with Varun Chakravarti. And then people who have been performing well for 2, 3, 4 years leading up to the World Cup, they don't get a chance. Look at what happened to Chahal. So if you have players who you've been backing, waiting for these World Cup, then let them play these games. Otherwise, we'll have the same result come October, November.
Adi?
yeah, I have a slightly different take. Like, overall, I agree, but we have like 20 plus more matches before the T20 World Cup. Like, the whole calendar is filled with T20s. There's Asia Cup, you're playing against England, then a couple of countries are touring India. So there's like 20 plus matches, so it's okay. One is Bumrah and Shami both rested. It was also okay. Rohit and Kohli, both of them are not in the greatest of form, but they will walk into our playing 11. So that's how it is. And KL got injured. Like, my biggest concern is KL randomly getting injured before every tournament or any series. So hopefully that injury is not a problem. Like, if KL was there, I think our balance would have been better. Because uh, if he sees it's a difficult pitch, to give him credit, KL will hold one end up and others can go, and then it kind of lays that platform. So the, we are missing KL from that sense. Like, both today, what, like Ruturaj and Ishan both are kind of inexperienced at the international level. So that kind of hurts us as well. So all said and done, it's okay. I'm more disappointed in Chahal, like as Sanjay mentioned, that man, like 4 overs 49, that's where the game was lost. And Akshar, I don't know if he deserves to be in this Indian team as an all-rounder. You have Hardik, fine, have it, he's your all-rounder. Play Chahal, sorry, play Kuldeep or play Bishnoi. Like play like a proper spinner, not Akshar, because today he got caught out very easily, right? Like 1 over 19, but no bowling. And then even in the last match, I think the momentum changed when Aksar's fourth over, they took him apart for like 15, 20 runs and then they didn't look back. So I'm not a big fan of having Aksar in the team. Very rarely does like a number seven get to play a lot of deliveries in a T20, match. So I would go ahead and play Kuldeep or Bishnoi and try. Like even if they fail, that's fine. Like now you know that okay, you have to try different options and combinations. But that is how I would look at it. And another thing to consider is the T20 World Cup is in Australia. The stadiums are going, like the grounds are much bigger. So spinners like Bishnoi and Kuldeep might be more effective, who put the ball in the air, and the boundaries are larger. Akshar, again, I don't know like how he will perform in Australia and all that. So I would make that one change. Everything else is okay. Avesh came back, did well today. Harshal's bowling decent. Who is like our best bowler. So all that's okay, and we have to give Hardik a run with the ball. Like he's not bowling well, but your other option is Venkatesh Iyer. I rather give Hardik a longer run than trying to slot in Venkatesh Iyer ASAP.
Absolutely. And I think Aksar is coming in, Adi, because we lack a left arm spinner and he's just filling in for Jadeja. That's what I would think between both of them. The selectors are trying their hand. If Jadeja gets injured, we do need a lefty. That is one. And second, Anirudh makes a good point, Sanjay. I think the role clarity also needs to come into play with so many injuries. Right now, there are too many captains in the team, clearly, understandably so, which is a good problem to have. But where it is leading to, and we were talking in our WhatsApp group too, this is where we miss somebody like MS Dhoni or a Virat Kohli, who are true leaders. Whether the game is slipping away or whether we are winning, they have a different energy which drive. And in current setup, looking at Punk, every time he gets excited, the game is getting lost, the shoulders droop. And what is with Shreyas Iyer bowling the last over? I mean, I don't get it. So, what are your thoughts there?
Shreyas said bowling the last, so I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's fine to try someone with the game's to be much done. But in terms of captaincy, I think you have to. I've got my sympathies with Pant. I really like him. I've got a problem with his batting. I think I'm more concerned about his batting. I'm not worried about his captaincy because he's not even the second choice captain at this point in time. KL Rahul would probably, as he was supposed to, captain. So he will learn. I mean, if he was to be the captain for the next 6 months, then you probably see him develop. And yeah, Delhi Capitals, what he does, he's still learning his trade. But I think I'm more worried for his batting, the way he's getting out, almost like borderline careless, carefree. We want to have the punt, which we all love to see, excited, etc. But I think we are expecting more from him as the batter. Captaincy, if our bowlers had decent two outings, especially our spinners today and our fast bowlers on the previous game, he would have been up 2-0. So suddenly, does that mean he becomes a great captain? Not necessarily. So it also depends upon whether the team performs along with him. And for that, I think he needs to step up as a batter as well.
And Adi, Vishak makes a good point, which I always had this question with me too. Are T20s becoming win the toss and win the match kind of template?
Not necessarily, right? We saw in the IPL. Initially, it was the case, and towards the back end of the IPL, it was like more even, and it even tilted towards teams batting first, winning many matches in a row. And I think in the second half of the tournament, batting first became the preferred choice. Having said that, uh, I still think it matters. Like, I don't know to what extent you played a role with our spinners bowling so badly. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's a factor, it's a not. If you lose the toss and if you're batting first, you need to score a lot more runs to make up for that difference. Like you can't defend 150, 160. You have to score like 180, 170, right? First match, okay, Delhi, flatter pitch, smaller ground, 210, 200 was par. We lost team in the middle there also. We ideally should have scored like 220 or something there, and then it would have been much like more closer, right? Like, not saying that we would have definitely won here as well. I think that buffer was not there. If that buffer of 160, 170, 165, 170 was there, even if one or two bowlers have an off day, then you could make a match out of it. So yeah, measured approach. Like, good luck for Bavuma for winning both the tosses, right? That's how it is. Bad luck to Pant, but yeah, we'll bounce back, right? Like, it's not a problem. I'll like to make that comment on too many captains, right? Like, so I get a feeling, at least, like Hardik or Shreyas or all these people, they kind of feel slighted that Pant became the captain before them, right? In that sense, so there might be some level of, I'm not saying like fight or
Exactly.
animosity, but some level of, array, like, I could also contribute and all this. So that level of clarity is not there. Uh, with that comment, right? Like, one person's deciding who to bowl, one person's deciding the field, other person's talking to the bowlers. There are like too many cooks spoil the kitchen, right? So, like, spoil the dish. So maybe Dravid should be very clear that, okay, Pant does this. Okay, you go and talk to Pant and explain, and let Pant take that call, rather than independently other, experienced captains doing their stuff. So something needs to be done around that.
Yeah, it's a good point, and pleasing to see Sanjay that India back to back retained the 11 because that gives consistency. But going into third T20, now that we have to make a statement, are we going to look at any changes, like Vishak saying bring in Umran to enforce the situation?
I would have played Umran even from the first game, to be honest. You know what we can do, and to be honest, effectively we are trying to find out what the people who just come into the setup what they can offer. So I would have, I would definitely play Umran in the next game, even if it means playing him instead of Akshar Patel, because he's not giving you much with the bat. Bowling, he's bowling 1 overs, 2 overs, just like how Jadeja is for CSK. Hardly ever completes his quota. So yeah, get a proper fast bowler and see. At least he'll have the experience and be better off for it. Either he does well or not is a different question, but I'd definitely give him a go.
Absolutely. So remember, this is a five-match T20 series. Next match is at Vishakhapatnam, and Bangalore tickets are already sold out before even they are announced. So there's a lot of excitement in India, and good to see crowds. Final thoughts from South Africa point of view. They are coming along nicely. Will they continue to be the dark horses leading up to the T20 World Cup, Adi?
Yeah, they've got like a plan and it kind of works, right? I think their coaching staff and also the whole ecosystem, like Graham Smith is very level headed. He's like, okay, let's give these players a chance and let's continue to run. Mark Boucher is also someone who's been there, done that, right? So I think they're giving longer rope to players. They don't kind of like, oh, 2 matches you don't do well, we cut you off. That's not happening with South Africa, and they're backing their players. Like, you can see Van der Dussen, now you can see Klaasen or like other players. So as long as and Miller, like all these players, they're taking it deep. They are not getting flustered if they are like 4 of 10 or like like 10 of 20, but they know how to accelerate. So they're playing well with their power hitting, and South Africa always does have like these good fast bowlers, right? So they have a nice balance. Definitely dark horses leading into the T20 World Cup. I think even in the last T20 World Cup, they were very unlucky to miss out on the spot. They were really good. 4-3-1, right? Like 4 matches, 3 won and 1 lost, and they lost out on net run rate, right? So it was a really good performance by them. So they're doing well. So they'll be tough to beat. Like, it'll be really tough for India to win like all 3 matches in a row now. And I think Quinton might be back next match. So that's another pain for India to deal with, right? Today they had uh, a weaker batting lineup, if I can say that. So it's looking tough. And Bauma is like more level headed, right? He's not your flashy captain. He just gets the job done, right? So he's just there. He's not showing too many emotions, but tactically, he seems like to have his head in place and knows his plans and executes them.
Absolutely. And Sanjay, the key thing to South Africa, at least from this tour, we are seeing is they have 6 to 7 bowling options. And we all know that in T20s, bowling plays a bigger part than batting. And guess what? versus India, who probably have premier batting lineup. They are containing them what less than 8 runs per over. So your thoughts on bowling lineup of South Africa?
I'm a big fan of having 6 or 7 bowling options because it will cost you in a game like today. If you had another fast bowling option or another spinning option, then maybe you give them a go and see what they do. Because if your spinners are going for 15 runs and over, then as a captain you're pretty much hamstrung with what you can do. So I'm a big fan of their having multiple options. And I'd go to say so far as that South Africa has got a better chance of winning the World Cup than India. So they are no longer the dark horses to me. I think South Africa, Sri Lanka, they're all looking pretty decent. South Africa and Sri Lanka did much better than a lot of people anticipated in the previous World Cup. And as Adi said, I think South Africa was the unluckiest team. If they had been in India's group, they would have probably gone through. India had no chance of going through. At least South Africa beat all the big teams in the group of death. So as to group of death, it was all tailor made for India to go through. It did not happen. So in South Africa, probably better conditions for their fast bowling attack. Imagine Rabada and Heinrich Nokia with those bouncy wickets. Hopefully, they'll do very well. And Shamsi is as good a bowler as we have in T20 internationals. Maharaj will do a decent job. So I think there's a lot of positive signs, and I can't see them losing this series now.
Yeah. And last thoughts, Adi, Vishak comes up with a pretty decent, proven concept. When Ganguly was the captain, Sachin was like a batting captain, Zach was bowling, Yui was fielding. So maybe Dravid's trying the same here. Do you
I
think that'll
think
work? I think it's a great concept.
it's a great concept in theory, but practically there is a challenge here because at that time Sachin had left captaincy and he had no aims to become the captain. That's one. Two, Zach was also like, fine, I will talk. He's the most experienced bowler. I will talk to the bowlers and like coach them, fast bowlers especially. UV fielding captain, yes, like he was a brilliant fielder, and UV is, was looked at some point in time as the future captain, right? So it worked. Now you retrofit it to current situation. Pant is captain, like the fine, like he's a temporary captain in this case. Second is batting captain. Whom are we, thinking about here? Is it Shreyas Iyer? I don't know. Like because he's like, hey, I want to be captain. He has ambitions to be captain. And bowling, Hardik as well, right? Like and fielding DK. Like so, the plan in theory is good, but the people who are doing this might not be that great. So what it would be good would be if Bhuvi would be our bowling captain and talking to the bowlers instead of Hardik or instead of Shreyas or instead of someone else. And as a batting captain, maybe Kohli, right? Like some and Rohit is the main captain, batting captain Kohli, Rohit and Bumrah or Bhuvi be the bowling captain, fielding captain someone else. Then it falls into place. Now everyone here is like captaincy aspiration folks because we know Rohit can't continue more than 2 3 years as captain. So next spot is open. Is it KL? Is it Pant? Is it Hardik? Is it Shreyas? So all these are like captaincy candidates. So I feel at least that gets the friction into the plan.
Plus, if I'm Shreyas here, I should be more worried about trying to get into that squad of World Cup.
15 and playing 11
Yeah,
consistently. Yeah.
because the way he's going, I mean, yeah, he had a great series in against the previous touring side. I keep forgetting them. I think it was probably West Indies or Sri Lanka rather. But I mean, today's innings 35 or 40 coming in number three. I'm not necessarily sure that does that help the team. So yeah, I think he has to. And then drop catch in the previous game. Yeah, I think he has to probably focus more on his current role as a batter.
Yeah. And we forgot about another promising player. Hopefully, he gets at least one game. Arshdeep Singh. Do you think Umran Malik and Arshdeep Singh next game probably having Bowie resting, or is it unlikely? Anirudh points that out.
Yeah, it becomes difficult, right? If you go with unchanged side and you keep losing, then are you going to suddenly throw another set of inexperienced people, give them India caps and whatnot? So I would do it, even if it means that losing another couple of games. I would surely, go ahead with Umran and even, Arshdeep for that matter in another game. But yeah, we know what Bhuvi can offer, what Harshal can do. So the more bowling options we can try, I think it'd be better because we probably need some variety. Someone who can bowl absolutely quick like Umran Malik, and you have to utilize that. Considering fast bowlers are someone who can get injured easily. So yeah, let's try him out. Let's see what he's got to offer.
Absolutely. I think Andy Handy, our usual suspect, also mentions the same thing. Great. So, not so good Sunday for Indian players, but congratulations, South Africa. Beating in India is a big deal. So, one more game and you'll win the T20 series. Next game is in Vishakhapatnam on Tuesday. We'll see if our time permits. We will probably come back in. Sanjay, thanks for making time. Let's go back to the Test cricket or probably West Indies versus Pakistan one day. Adi, Nicholas Puran scoring runs, wicket keeping, and now taking wickets too. Are you happy as a Sunrisers fan?
Dude, like he never bowls. This is, I think, I was looking at his Cricinfo or Crickbuzz, profile. I was like, when the hell has he bowled? And then I see this is the first time he has bowled more than 1 or 2 overs. Right? He has never bowled in IPL. He's never bowled in T20 internationals. He's never bowled in Tests. First time he's bowling like his quota of 10 overs. So like mystery, right? Like Pakistan players were like, what is this? And they probably got out, right? So first time lucky. Let's see if he continues to bowl, then he can be a all-rounder, right? Why not? Hmm.
He only scored 11 runs, so yeah, he got out as well. But Joe Root's scoring runs for fun. He's got another 150 not out, so I think that's a interesting game to look forward.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Cool. All right, thanks very much, chaps, for engaging as well. Vishak, Anirudh, Andy Handy, usual suspects, and our CEO Ajay PK. Hopefully, you get to go for the Bangalore match. Sanjay, enjoy the rest of the Sunday. Adi, take care in the West Coast, and see you later. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks all.